All right, y'all. How you doing? Just want to give you individuals who are listening, just my own definition of what love is. Um, for myself, when I hear people say, they define love, people want to be told that that they are loved by somebody. So that's more of an emotional response. They want to feel that that person feels the same way that they feel, like if it's a relationship or something. So it's a feeling of something. Peace, Pat. Um, it's a feeling. So for some people, for myself, love is it's an act. Darlene Bonds, peace. How you doing, sister? It's something you do when you're not expecting something back in return. Peace, Brother Morris. You just do it. What I mean by that is, my father defined love as a verb. He said it's an action, and I actually agree with that. But whenever I hear someone say that, I always ask them, "What do you mean by action? What do you mean by that?" I want them to define how love is an action, because I can give it to you. I have no problem doing so. And what I mean by that is this: we all have parents, grandparents, etc. We all came from someone, mother, father. Some people don't have their mother, their father in their lives anymore. But let's say you do. Let's say you still have. Let's say you still have your mom in your life. It might be your camera. I'm not sure, Darlena, because I just wiped mine down. But hopefully you listen to this. Just hear it, Darlena, for right now. What if? Because they're all our parents are gonna get old. They're gonna get old. They're old now, and we all will get old as well. But what if that parent gets to a point? Because some parents don't get to this point. They can no longer do certain things for themselves, like basic things that we do every day that we take for granted, like being able to use their arms, their legs, being able to wipe their butt when they go to the bathroom. Like, imagine your parent, you know, can no longer wipe themselves. Are you willing to do that for your parent? In this society, we teach individualism, and we teach as an adult, you get 18, you get kicked out the house, or you leave, or whatever. You're taught to leave, and you're taught to forget about your family. When your parents, mother or father, grandmother, grandfather, get to a certain age, you're taught to put them in a home, and like just to get rid of them. We get rid of our people, and we don't. It's almost like that's where the love ends. That's deep. And so, what if you say, you know what, I don't want to do that. I want to take care of my parents until they make their transition. Like, I want to be able to do things for them that they can't do for themselves. That's what love is to me. In that regard, if someone was to say, give me an example, that's an example. Is doing something for someone you know they can't do for themselves. You know they can't do it. Even if you're like, oh my God, that's nasty, I don't know. Like, imagine having a child that's autistic or that is mentally disabled, and it's like they drooling all on themselves and they can't pick up after themselves, and you do it for them. That's love. You know what I'm saying? Like that, you're treating them. You know that they may be a little different, but you're not treating them as if they're lower than you. That's love to me. That's real. Like, I've seen people do that, and I've seen people that I know, people who could never do that because that's not who they are. It's not who they are. Another form of love, I'll give you another example of what love is. When I was like 17, 18, still in high school, I was going through a transitional phase in my life where I was like kind of going, going into consciousness. I was kind of like all over the place. I had very little friends, if any. Very little friends at that point. I think I may have had three or four because it was just like, your surroundings define you. So most of my friends at that time, they were kind of like outcasts. My man Howard, Colin, certain people at the time. But one friend I had while I was in high school was a brother named Michael Franklin. And I've been looking for him for a while. Not sure what happened to him, but can't find him. But and he called me one day. And he's usually like he was more upbeat than me. I was usually, the reserved person. I was a kid. He was a little older, because he hadn't graduated yet. So I think he was like supposed to be class of 97 and I was class of 99. So he was just, considered to be one of the bad kids in school, but he did what he wanted to do. But he called me one day and he's about to take his life. And I really loved the dude. Like, real talk, I loved him. Like, he was a brother to me. Like, he was a brother to me when no one else was. Like, he talked to me about stuff that most people would not sit and listen to. They would not care. They would not care to hear it. And he called me about, he was going to commit suicide. Had the gun to his head and everything. And he's like, yo, Ali, give me a reason to live. I don't want to live anymore. And I was like, wow, like, yo, like. And the thing is, we have to be careful about perception, because a lot of times when we deal with perception, we take people out of just being human beings. We take them out of that. Like, we look at them as above us. So when they're vulnerable, we don't want to hear any. It's like that changes the perception of who they are. And so when a person is vulnerable around you, that you've seen as being above you, or they were, let's say that they were your mentor, you don't know how to respond because you see them as an image and not for who they really are. We have to stop doing that. But I talked to him for a while because his girl broke up with him and everything, and he was down, man. It hurt, and hurt him bad, And we talked for about 2 hours, and I was able to talk him out of taking his life. Most people, I've noticed, when I talk about suicide with a lot of our people, they think it's a joke. I'm like, black men commit suicide at alarming rates, and now the highest rate of suicide, it's just a side note, the highest rate of suicide in the black community now are young black boys. And we're not paying attention at all. But we say we're for our children, but black boys are going through deep amounts of depression. Deep amounts of it. And we don't even care. But anyway, I loved him and he loved me. And it was real, man. Like, that dude was like really a brother to me, man. Nobody else was there like that. You know what I'm saying? And that was real. What did William say? I had to take care of my dad until he transitioned tables had turned. I became the father and he became the child. Yeah, William, right? That's how it is. That's a cycle of existence on the physical world. Like, it's like we forget that shit because we're in a system where it's like we're supposed to forget that we're human. Like, it's gonna happen. Like, you're gonna get to a point where things are gonna break down. You're gonna need your family. Like, don't throw your family away. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit is crazy. It don't matter what their ideology is or their perspective or what they've done. Like, you don't do that. You don't do that. One of the most valuable things you can have is family. Other than time, is family. You don't have family, you don't have nothing. And that's the truth. But anyway, that's real. Love to me, as I said, is listening to someone who you know is going through something without responding to that person. Like most of the time when I talk to someone, usually a person is waiting to respond back to what I just said without actually listening to what I just said. It's like it's never a selfless act anymore. Most people listen just to respond as opposed to just shutting up. It was a sister on Instagram that asked what is a quality that women should possess according to black men. I said a listening ear and understanding. I didn't say none of the other stuff about cooking, cleaning, and all that stuff. Listening to me. You never know what I may go through throughout my day. If you truly love an individual, you just listen to them. You don't have to say nothing back. Just say, okay. You allowed that person to emotionally dump on you. And that's selfless. That means you really love that person. Like, you really freaking care. You freaking care about allowing that person to release from their heart what they went through, even if it's just for that day. So they don't, punch their hand through a wall. It's doing things for someone. Love is doing things without really thinking about getting it in return. You know you may not get that back, but you did it anyway. It don't have to be money. Just doing something. Most of us do things for other people because we want something back in return. As opposed to just doing it. Just say, look, I just did it. Don't worry about it. Don't even worry about it. I did it because I wanted to. You know what I mean? And some people don't say I love you. They just show you. Sometimes that's the best thing in the world. We like to be told things as opposed to it being shown. And then you lose because you're waiting on it to be said, but you don't really care whether it's ever shown. That's why people get confused sometimes in relationships where it's like, well, he told me and she told me. It's like, yeah, you wanted to be told, so you took away the actual act of doing it. So you got what you got. You got what you wanted, but you didn't get what you needed and what you truly deserve, which is the action and the act of actually selfless love to somebody. That's what love is to me, is a selfless act, truthfully. Based on the people that you love, it's a selfless act. And like teaching is a selfless act. Now, teaching over the years has become very selfish because people teach things that really don't really matter anymore. They're not really trying to get to a destination or any real anything. It's just their own personal agenda to make money. That's not love. That's why a lot of people teach things that they know we already know. They just keep rehashing it, and it's a hustle. You know what I'm saying? When you really love someone, you'll do it. You'll tell someone something even if you know they're going to hate you for it. I'm going to hate this nigga for what he going to say. But deep down inside, I know I need to swallow that pill. Those are the teachers that I enjoy, because I know that they're doing it because they want us to break free from mental slavery. They love us that much. They're selfless. They don't care whether you follow them or not. They say what's needed to be said. And sometimes we have to start looking at people that do that. It's like, man, like he sacrificed notoriety for truth. That's love. So we gotta really this is just my definition, and I'm not telling you what to do, whoever's listening to this. I'm just giving you my definition. Because, again, love is selfless. Just for today, whoever's listening to this, do something that's selfless. Like, listen, if someone has something to say to you, try not saying nothing at all and shutting everything down. Put your cell phone down, put your cell phone in your pocket, and just listen to that person. You know what I'm saying? Even if you're not looking them in the eye, give them your ear. They'll appreciate that. It's one of the most appreciative things you can ever do for someone, is allow them to speak to you without having to open your mouth back. It's very important to do, and we need to learn how to start doing that again. So yeah, I just want to give you all my definition.